Ladies and gentlemen, your 2023 Daily Motor Best Car We Drove, the Volvo S60. For those of you who watch Daily Motor regularly, you'll know that we love getting Volvos in. We like it when they're sedans, we like it when they're wagons, we like it when they're SUVs. If Volvo still made the C70 convertible, we would be huge fans. But the Volvo S60 is a car we drove last year that best represented a car that we feel can be transcendent among so many different types of driving situations and ownership type of situations. You can get it in a plug-in hybrid setup like this. You can get it in more of a basic, just turbocharged inline 4. They're all hybrids now. Despite being out for many years now, this style just still looks fantastic, and Volvo has really leaned into it in some of these kind of black, dark appearance packages and just fine-tuning the car to be something that we would happily own, and really doesn't cost all that much. The Volvo S60 starts at less than the average new car transaction price here in the United States, and you can option it with one of our favorite sound systems on the entire new car market, and nice materials inside, a crystal shift knob, and a powerful plug-in hybrid powertrain for $70,000 or so. I think if you get up toward Polestar tuned, the Polestar versions, you're getting about $75,000. It really does provide a kind of cool, unique ownership experience, as well as something that's just a pleasure to own and drive. So we've got Chris behind the camera right now, and we are going to go for a drive in this 2024 S60 and take a walk around it and talk about why we loved the car so much. We did our Daily Motor Car of the Year bracketing the same way we have every year, and we came down to a final four of this Volvo S60, the Subaru Crosstrek, the Toyota GR86, and Huracan.
Oh God.
Yeah. So it was Huracan, GR86, and then S60 and Crosstrek. And the new Crosstrek is really good. I mean, I like a lot of you've driven the new Crosstrek as well. You had a cool red one. That one was.
We did.
Yeah.
Wilderness.
Yeah. And the Crosstrek also represents a good car for the people. It provides a good amount of space, decent enough to drive, can do a lot of things. But we ended up giving the slight edge to the Volvo because it had that kind of specialness to it. Still, when I see an S60, I'll go, that's a nice looking car. I mean, it'll drive by, and I'm like, that's a cool car. I'm not going to say that necessarily about a Crosstrek unless it's just the right specific sort of wilderness or something like that.
Also, you never get mad at Volvo S60s on the road.
No.
They never cut you off. They never do anything that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
It's just very, very distinguished.
Yep. And then when it came between this and the GR86 and BRZ for Car of the Year, the Topher did want GR86.
Wonder why.
And I get that. He is an owner. But he overall was okay with the Volvo S60 choice because, again, between a car that is really good at its mission but would be a little tough to own versus a car that executes its mission so well and would be nice to own and is nice to drive.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Full package.
Yeah. And a lot of Car of the Year type of awards pick something new. But a new car shopper isn't always going to be like that. If you're an average sort of North American car shopper or European or anything like that, you probably buy a car a lot less often than we do. You probably only buy yourself a new car, let's say 3 to 5 years. Does that sound fair?
Even that's, I would say,
yeah,
maybe more than average.
Right.
But I think, I guess 5 years.
Yeah. So this car might be new to you in that you might be driving something from 2017, 2014. Maybe you always buy maybe 1 or 2 model years old or something like that. You're a smart, savvy shopper, you get CPO or something like that, which Volvo does offer a fantastic CPO program, by the way. And so for you, this is a new car, like it's a new, fresh model for you, and you can still take advantage of and appreciate everything it has to offer. So just because this S60 wasn't fresh for the 2023 model year doesn't mean that it's not still relevant. And if anything, it's a smarter buy because they've had some years to work out the kinks. Whereas if you're going to get something like a new Accord or a new Prius, you're buying a first model year. And I don't know if I would recommend that car to people as much as I'd recommend something that's been owned for a little while or been out.
Right.
So starting around back, this is a compact sedan overall, but you can actually do stuff with this trunk.
Yes, and this particular car has been spec'd without the power trunk, which is very good.
Yeah, I mean, how easy is it to just simply let it power up?
I like Volvo's trunk buttons too because they're very large.
tactile.
And you always know where they're at. You
They're
don't have to
nice
go searching for
in
it.
the middle, right under the L.
Yeah.
Yep. And good amount of trunk space. This one probably doesn't have a spare tire.
No, because it's an hybrid.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Battery under here.
Yep.
But we have plug-in apparati, and you could put suitcases in here. You could put child strollers in here if you needed to. Good amount of groceries, and then simply close it away. We have our fuel cap. Does it require
Yes.
premium?
Well, it requires being open
A
from
button.
the inside.
I don't think it's going to require premium. Probably just recommends premium.
Yeah, I doubt it. Premium fuel, minimum octane rating 91. So yes, it does require premium.
This is the T8 plug-in hybrid model, whereas
Yeah.
if you were to just get the B5, I think you'd be
Yeah,
you'd be okay with
fine.
87. Yep. Again, really cool looks. This is the dark appearance package, so we've got no chrome.
I love these
dark
wheels.
bits around it. Yeah, these wheels are nice. They're 19s, but it does look quite good.
They're like concept car wheels.
Yeah, but let's hop on inside and talk a little bit more about what makes this not just a nice example of this car, but why the S60 in general is a car of the year for us.
Also, biblically accurate DM review. Charlie's driving first.
Right. Should we? I think there's a good amount of room in the back.
Yeah.
I'll just verify that there's
Okay, yeah,
headroom.
just go ahead and check that real quick.
Yep. Of course, I wouldn't. So I am 5'10". My hair is touching.
Yeah.
But I can lean fully back without being squished in.
That's because your hair is so perfect it touches the ceiling.
Oh, thank you.
What do you think about the wool seats?
Yeah, we got wool seats in here, and they feel nice. It's cozier than leather.
I've always liked this wool blend that Volvo does.
Yeah.
Yeah, although it is coming apart slightly on the bolster on the driver's seat. It's fraying a little bit.
Maybe that's to just make it feel like a nice sweater that you've had for many years.
That's true, yeah. You can just kind of break it in a little bit.
Yeah.
I also really like the black headliner. Everything you touch in this car is just so nice. This open pore wood on the dash, the extended leather, the stitching, the beautiful Bowers Wilkins speaker covers. Also, this is just the sign that you're going to have an excellent drive no matter where you go.
Yeah, obviously sound system's very important to us here at Daily Motor, and Chris often jokes that this is a $60,000 sound system with a car attached
With a
to
free
it.
car attached,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of the piano black.
No, but you can get rid of most of it.
You can get rid of most of it, and most people who buy an S60 are probably going to be smart, responsible car owners who aren't going to messy this all up and scratch
Maybe
it.
you do have it on the steering wheel too, though.
Well, again, it's just soft thumb pads. That's all that should be touching now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the good thing about this is it won't get worn.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, very solid door thunk.
Oh, hold on. And a memory passenger seat in this particular car.
And Volvo font, of which I've always been.
You like Volvo. You're weird on fonts. Well, sorry, particular on fonts.
Right.
Yeah.
I am big on everything you touch regularly in a car that you have to use regularly in your day-to-day driving should be something nice to touch. And Volvo gives you a crystal shift knob in this model. And away we go.
Away we go into B mode.
B mode,
Which it's worth mentioning that this is a plug-in hybrid. You can fully one-pedal drive this car.
Yes.
Which is not a very common occurrence with plug-in hybrid vehicles. Even some EVs won't let you one-pedal drive.
Yeah.
But that's what I love most about this T8 powertrain.
Yeah, the Nissan Ariya, they took away one pedal driving.
Did they?
They had
really?
it in the Leaf, and they don't have it in the Ariya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange.
There is one feature that the Volvo S60 misses,
Oh, I already know what you're going to say.
and it's the power adjusted steering
There
column.
it is.
However, I will say I do think that they took away cooled seats for the Volvo S60 as well for 2024. Which is
Well, this has wool seats, so how could they be cooled?
Well, somebody else told me that I think for even the leather models they took out.
Oh,
cooled
really?
seats. So that is a little
Chip
bit.
shortage?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Can we? It's 2024. Can we keep saying chip shortage?
I think, yeah, let's ride it out as long as we can.
Yeah.
Are you going straight? Does it? You are. Okay.
How about that steering feel, Charlie?
I was just going to get to that. What the Volvos do so well, and what Volvo as a brand does so well, is recognize that most people don't drive for fun. Most people drive out of necessity. And yeah, they might want a car that makes them look good, they might want a car that is comfortable or is kind of sporty in certain situations, but in general, it's more about getting your body and your family and your things from one point to another. So Volvo makes that experience as nice as possible. Very, very light steering, very well-tuned throttle application. I don't mean well-tuned as in, oh, the engine's responding really well to my right foot. What I mean is, for example, when I go to back the car into my garage and I'm in reverse, they make the throttle very, very unsensitive, not very touchy at all. So that's very unlikely that I'm going to be jumpy and kind of like jerk my passengers around and potentially crash.
Like a traverse.
Exactly. Very, very smooth. And same thing when I accelerate from the stoplight here, it's going to progressively add throttle, not necessarily linearly with my foot. It's going to ease on the acceleration to make a very smooth departure. And these are luxury car type of things to consider that don't need to cost a lot of money to do. A company can program nice light steering and nice smooth throttle application for no extra money. So it's nice that Volvo has said, we don't care about sportiness, we care about having a smooth, simple, serene driving experience.
That's right.
And on top of that, Volvos have always been very well known for their safety and security. And knock on wood.
No, there is actually wood.
Yes, knock on some open pore wood here. We rarely have to have that be a consideration when we're driving all these new vehicles, but if you're going to actually buy a car, that's something you're going to consider, that you can crash in a Volvo, and it's going to do its best to keep you from crashing first. We actually had a little bit of automatic emergency braking intervention yesterday when a pedestrian was walking next to us. The car slammed on its brakes.
Yep.
Yes, it was jarring, but it's also better than hitting a human. And it's nice knowing that in your day-to-day driving, should an accident happen, the Volvo is going to do its darndest to keep you and your family safe.
Yes.
So Chris, you picked this car up from the airport earlier this week. That is often a stressful time when you've just taken a long flight across the country to get in. Was the Volvo, did it provide you any sort of consternation or frustration?
It did. Well, it helps that I've driven a few of these, but I think even if I was someone that has never driven one of these cars before, like you said earlier, everything is tuned so well. The throttle response is progressive. The steering isn't super heavy. And just getting in this car and weaving through the stupid Sepulveda parking structure, I did have more peace of mind than I would in, say, what's something that I don't like driving?
Well, what's something that was a competition to this? A Crosstrek? This would have been nicer because you don't have a CVT nicer. Making noises.
And I immediately turned on my music. Everything was good.
Calming.
Yeah, I just love this car, and I always have. And I remember distinctly when I started working with you and Chris, you guys would always make a big deal and we're like, oh, we love when we get Volvos. And I had never really paid any attention to Volvos, and I was like, why do they like Volvos so much? And then I drove an S90, and I was like, okay, I understand. Yep. And then I drove the V90, and then I drove the XC90. And then I drove an S60 and the V60, and I was like, they all drive basically the same,
right?
But they're all very, very nice. And there are things in here that are bespoke that don't really remind you of other manufacturers. And it helps that this is the only Swedish car left because we don't have Saab anymore. But I love Volvos, and I love what they stand for. I love the kind of like, how do you describe it? I like that it's like low key wealth.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like someone who drives an S60, like, you can assume that they make much more money than someone driving a BMW M3.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
That's very well said. Yeah, and you also point out the fact that explicitly this award is going to the S60.
Yes.
But really, you could go buy yourself whatever size Volvo you need.
They're all pretty much
They're all pretty good. Now, we can't necessarily say that about the EX90. We haven't driven that yet.
That's true.
And the C40 and XC40 are a little bit of a lesser experience just because they're more affordable cars.
Yeah.
But any of the 60 or 90 series cars are pretty universally nice.
Yeah. XC60's brilliant. S90, V90, V60.
So I'm coming to the stop right now, and I have not applied brake pedal, and look at that, brings me right to a stop.
Yeah, and if you
drive away.
If you don't, for some reason, like to one pedal drive, you can turn that off.
Yes. Well, if you simply don't put it in B, right?
No, because
you can also turn on creep. Yes.
You have driving. So these are the two anti-Volvo modes. You can turn creep on, and you can firm up your steering feel. We will be doing neither of those today. Got a few other things. You've got modes for, in this T8 car, hybrid power, pure or constant all-wheel drive. You can put yourself in pure electric. Power is more of a sport mode. And you can also hold or charge your battery percentage here with the battery usage mode.
And we see Chris messing around with the infotainment screen there, and admittedly, when this generation of Volvos came out, their screens were a little bit slow, a little bit laggy, not quite as intuitive as they are now. Now we're running Android Automotive, which means we get full-fledged Google navigation built right in, so you can do something like, hey Google, take me to the nearest Starbucks.
All right, Starbucks.
Sure.
Let's
Starbucks.
go.
Let's go.
Your
Well,
phone's doing
we
it
do
too.
have multiple Google devices,
Yeah.
but
Charlie switched to an Android since he moved to California.
yeah, I'm just trying to trigger Chris as much as possible.
He is.
And you can see it's right there ready to go. And this one being a plug-in hybrid, it'll actually tell you, I think, how much
Charging.
charge you'll have in various places. That's excellent right there.
Oh, yeah, with the monoblocks on there too. Very good.
So the infotainment in general works quite a bit better than it did in some of the earlier model years. I will admit, I don't love not having physical climate controls. The only thing you can do is turn on your defrosters.
And you can mess with your temperature here on the screen that always stays there.
Right, but it's not physical. It's not as nice as just turning something.
But it never moves, at least.
Yeah, that
It's
that
still
does
one.
help.
It's still one
always
to
there.
Press.
Yeah. And theoretically speaking, if you own the car, a lot of people simply leave their climate set at maybe whatever 72, whatever temperature they like to be.
Yeah.
Leave it on auto, and then that's good.
Yeah.
There is an XC90.
It is the XL version of this car.
Volvo also did a really good job with their hybrid tuning after a few years. It's blends so perfectly in this hybrid mode where right now we've got 15 miles of electric range, so plenty, and it's just driving me in all electric. And I can put the throttle down decently before the engine kicks in, but if I put in enough that it decides it needs to, it turns on the engine. It's quite seamless.
Yeah.
Admittedly, if you're somebody who likes a sportier sort of sedan, the 2-liter turbos don't have a lot of character in the S60. We'll fully admit that. We had this car along with a BMW M340i with its excellent B58 powertrain not too long ago, and yeah, we both admit that if we were going to maybe own a car in the mountains, we might pick the BMW. But as a general, universally appealing car, this 2-liter turbo is plenty, because again, you have to go back to the fact that a lot of people don't drive their cars sporty.
That's true, and I don't necessarily, I don't think of this car as a sports sedan, and like you said, it certainly isn't trying to be.
Right.
It was cool back in the day when they would kind of focus a little bit more on some of the Polestar stuff, but I really love this new era of Volvo, and I don't really think I would change anything, because I think it would be worse if it were sporty.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is this already isn't the smoothest ride in the class, especially on these 19-inch wheels. Maybe if we had more of like a B5, a little extra sidewall, it'd be a little cushier.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it were sportier, it would be worse.
How are the visors? That's one thing.
Although
visors don't extend.
Although keep in mind, the B-pillar is pretty close to you, so that's not a ton of space you're lacking there.
Yeah.
A lot of coverage. Let's reflect on some of the previous Daily Motor Best Cars We've Driven award winners.
Last year was the Kona N.
Last year was the Kona N, so we picked that again. That one obviously getting more towards sporty, but a car that set out to be a certain type of car and did it very, very well. Always put huge grins on our faces.
Yep.
And is still a car that somebody could drive and use as an car. Because you do have some ground clearance, you do have some practicality to it, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Then before that, we have the Honda Civic. Fantastic lineup.
Yeah.
And again, a car that does its mission really well, provides good ownership experience and good driver experience. And then the first one was the Lexus LC500.
That's my favorite new car.
That's your favorite old car, right?
No, it's not at all. I like the painter's tape on all of the surfaces on that.
The Lexus LC500, very different sort of car, but again, set out to do a certain mission, did it very well, is a great car to drive, and would be a fantastic car to own essentially for the rest of your life. So this Volvo falls in line with those other 4 winners in that it's a car that always stands out to us and we would all happily buy.
Yes.
So much so to the point that I think if I were really of the means, 7-8-figure sort of shopper, I'd still consider purchasing a fully fledged Volvo S60 or S90 over some of the other.
I would.
Yeah.
If I had to have a daily driver and money were no object, I'd probably go for an S90 just because I could.
Yeah.
But I always say that to people. People are just like, if you money no object daily, what would you have? And my answer is always a Volvo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No paddle shifters, which I appreciate.
That's fine.
Because you don't need them.
Don't need it with this.
No. Now, the V60 also exists, but the V60 you can't get in as many configurations, and it's louder inside because it's more cavernous.
Yeah,
now, I still would very much consider a V60, but the S60 is overall a more universal model as it stands for this model here.
Yeah, the V60 was nice. We used it to move Emily.
Yes.
When she moved house.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like steering feel firm?
Nope.
Oh,
this is plenty because I can still steer. Even in a race car, they often have light steering in race cars. You don't need heavy steering just in order to be sporty.
Yeah.
I'm also appreciative of Volvo not putting in a bunch of piped-in engine noise or something just to make this 2-liter turbo seem more sporty than it is. It seems pretty genuine.
Yeah. Well, piped-in engine noises for children.
Yes. And adults drive Volvos. Give Chris a little bit of time behind the wheel, wrap up our beloved time with the S60.
Yeah. Did you save my memory seat?
I did.
How nice of you.
Did you save my memory passenger seat from when I haven't sat over here.
I saved Emily's though.
Yeah. Is that 1 or 2? I hear the slightest bit of turbo from over here. Just a little bit of
small bit of noise. And sometimes when you drive these really spiritedly, you'll get little farts between shifts too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You are an enthusiast of those.
Yeah. And we do actually have a manual mode. You can move the crystal left or right, and left downshifts you, right upshifts you. And it shifts quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
8-speed, man. That's the way to do it. Yeah, I would love to own one of these. I mean, just be I'm sitting in the passenger seat over here. Volvo seats are so comfortable. There's so much power customization even from the passenger seat. I got 4-way lumbar and a crumb collector.
That's important as well, and I would say just as important for the passenger seat to do all of the functions of the driver's seat. It's so frustrating when you don't get lumbar, you don't get a height adjustment on the passenger side. It's very annoying.
Right, because if you go on a road trip, the passenger wants to be comfortable just as much as the driver does.
Yeah. So, S60 best car.
Yeah. Yeah, we've always been really happy when we get a Volvo, and it finally this year took the crown away from the Asian manufacturers to say that
that we like Sweden. What else do they do in Sweden? You know about that. You are a Sweden enthusiast, actually.
Yeah, very attractive people.
Okay, well, I mean, apart from that, like, what are their cultures? Like, what do they do? Like, are there
Spotify?
Is Spotify Swedish? Wow.
IKEA.
Is that why this has Spotify in it?
Likely, yeah. Like pretty much everyone in Sweden, you're essentially born and given a Spotify subscription. Yeah.
Obviously IKEA.
H&M.
Meatballs. Oh, I like their meatballs. H&M is Swedish as well.
Sweden is actually the 3rd largest music producer behind the US and the UK. Because Avicii, Swedish.
Oh, rip.
Swedish House Mafia, that was obvious.
Yep.
Max Martin, who's actually written many top hits for many of the pop music artists, is Swedish.
Okay.
Also, almost goes without saying, very good sound isolation. And a ride that is balanced between firm and floaty.
Yeah.
There's enough suspension travel that we're soaking up the bumps, but it's not wallowy.
This particular car needs an alignment, though.
Maybe somebody ran into something with the front of it and knocked the alignment out.
Maybe.
I think the car deserves the win just because of the wool seats alone. How many other cars on the market can you get wool seats?
One.
The S7 series?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I decided to take a trip out here solely to film Charlie's F-350, I was excited to learn that he booked me an S60 to pick up from the airport. It was the best sort of gift to receive.
And I am sacrificing a week in it for myself to give it to you.
Thank you so much. Well, you've driven it quite a bit, though. You've driven it more than I have.
Yeah, but not like just to have. Like, like drive it for a day.
Well, there are
other.
The good news is every Volvo is the same, which we've said, so you could just have a different version.
Right.
Oh my goodness, I have never seen an XM in the wild before.
Orange County, baby. Another thing the Volvo does really well is safety features that aren't intrusive. It's not constantly binging and bombing and bopping at you the way like new Lexuses do, for example. always
Korean
beeping.
cars.
Yeah, and the Korean cars always make noise. Even the quiet backup sound for this is just a nice bong,
Ting,
ting,
ting.
ting's a good way
Yeah.
to put it. Yeah. Where's your
Do you
favorite
think maybe
car?
they flick-
Q5.
Huh?
Oh, sorry. What?
Do you think maybe they flicked the crystal like Rolls-Royce does to get the
Ting.
noise?
They could have. Have you noticed a lot of new cars, the screen is getting too far away, so you have to like reach way up. A lot of Hyundais
Yeah, this is very
are like
close.
that. This, you can just
Yeah.
tap it. And that's the Volvo S60, the Daily Motor Car of the Year for 2023.
Will you do that? Thank you.
No occupants. Again, one of the last best things about this car is the fact that, yeah, you can get it fully loaded, but you can also get it quite basic, and it's still a great car. A lot of different good colors to choose from, both inside and out. A few different powertrain options, different sound systems. This is a car we'd all happily own.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to Chris for flying across the country to shoot this video with
Yeah,
us.
that's the only reason I came here.
Yep. Thank you all for watching year in and year out, and for tuning in to see what we have to say about the Volvo S60. Thank you to Volvo for hooking us up with another primo model and building good cars. And we'll see you on the next one. We're Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor, and as always, best car on.